Welcome to Pop Culture Roulette for all your pop culture needs. We're America's podcast.
Wow.
All right.
Oh.
All right.
my
Wait, what?
What?
Listen, most of this stuff's going to get cut, but I mean, that might not. All right. Anyway,
How dare you cut my stuff out?
I honestly, I cut way less of either of you than I cut of any of me. Like, just to let you know, there's.
Only cut my politically charged rants.
I cut what you tell me to cut. Other than that, I try to leave what you said because I don't want to be accused of anything.
Oh, well, then I never get cut then because I don't tell you to cut anything.
Well, I mean, I will cut some ums and ahs occasionally, but
I see.
Yeah.
Anyway,
don't you know?
Welcome everybody. We're back. All three of us are actually here today. Welcome, Jeremy.
Hi.
Welcome, Justin.
Yeah.
And we're actually pretty excited right now because the Packers are on a bit of a win streak. So, and they're not playing tonight, so we could actually record an episode.
I can barely contain myself.
I can't see my TV anyways because there's a tree.
Well, it is Christmas time, and as such, we tend to record some Christmas-related content, and we didn't really do a lot of Halloween content this year because schedules and life got in the way, and me being on a game show and Jeremy going back to college was just, really kind of fucked with our whole program. But we're going to get it back on track here eventually once life kind of settles back down. But we are going to talk Christmas. But I decided we're not done with Halloween, so we're going to talk the darker, more evil side of Christmas. So we're going to
retail.
Not that evil. Come on now.
All right.
I want people to listen to the episode, not turn it off and hang themselves. All right. We are going to discuss Krampus.
Never heard of him.
Question.
Yes.
Didn't we do this already?
See, I thought so, but no, we didn't. Because I looked back over all the episodes that we've done over the last couple of years, and we haven't done. I know you did some stuff with Krampus.
Because I was Krampus.
You were Krampus in your game show.
Yeah,
but
that wasn't really Krampus.
I know that we've probably talked about him here and there before, or brought him up. I know. The biggest thing that we have is the three of us went to go see that Krampus movie back in 2015, which, by the way, Can you believe that was that long ago at this point?
No.
Yes.
We're all just dust in the wind.
Oh, so I'm going to test your memory banks here. When we went and saw Krampus, it was the three of us. Was it just the three of us, or did Lars come with us?
Is that what you're testing your memory on?
No. What I was going to test your memory on is, do you guys remember, because we went up to the Majestic, and right towards the end of the movie when they did the fake out ending, there was that group of kids that were a couple rows behind us, and the one guy was like, fuck it, and just walked out and got real mad and left, and then the real ending happened, and you're like, oh, okay, well, that actually made the movie kind of cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe if that guy wasn't such a twat. Could have
maybe
enjoyed it too.
Maybe wait till the movie actually ends before you
yell up. You don't leave early.
Yeah, yell, scream, fuck this shit and leave the theater.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Oh, that was one of the more amusing things that I've ever seen happen at the movie theater. Krampus himself, the origins go back to the 6th, 7th centuries, However, because people were really bad at writing shit down, there's no written proof of Krampus existing until sometime around the end of the 16th century. So for about 10 centuries, people were like, "Yay, Krampus," but nobody was like, "Hey, we should write this down."
Hmm.
Or nobody was like, "Hey,
There,
we should write this down somewhere where like we can read it again in the future."
there was no AI to write it for him.
Oh, off camera jokes
Gotcha.
there. Okay.
Cha-cha.
It is thought to come. The word Krampus itself is thought to come from either the Bavarian word Krampen for dead or rotten, or a German word of Krampen for claw. And if anything, based on where all of the myth seems to come from, it comes from the Bavarian, the German, the Austrian, like that part of Europe really seemed to embrace the idea of Krampus and has just kind of slowly spread it across Europe. We'll get to it in a little bit, but Krampus didn't really come to America until the 2000s. Like people probably knew about it, but I mean, you know, when we get to the pop culture section of Krampus, we'll discuss when Krampus started to show up in America. Krampus is really seen as kind of the antithesis of Santa. He is in some traditions, Santa and Krampus actually work together. Like they're just like they're buddies. They hang out. Santa shows up, gives kids candies, oranges, walnuts, little gifts. Krampus shows up and hands out beatings with birch rods.
Bags of oranges.
I was hit by a bag of Valencia oranges. Krampus is said to be hairy, either a brown or a black fur, with cloven hooves for feet, the horns of a goat, a long pointy tongue, and some fangs. So I know when you look at like the pictures of all the Krampus costumes, a lot of people seem to have embraced more of the white fur, but the historical Krampus is black or brown.
Yeah,
I
Team
actually
Black for all the way.
I actually have a little Krampus wooden ornament that you gave me hanging in my work. Like I just have it hiding like up in a spot in my shop. People have seen it and they question it, and I just tell them it's Krampus, and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna move on because it's scary."
I have both of them on my tree every year now since I got them.
Did she ever find them, or do you just hide them? And
Yeah. Eventually, I think when she was taking the ornaments down, but now she puts them up with the rest of the Christmas ornaments.
oh, okay. So in certain traditions, the birch rods that he tended to beat little kids with were replaced with whips.
Must have been back in the good old days.
Must have been. He carts off children in sacks, either to eat them, drown them, or take them to hell.
All right.
Yeah, fuck those kids. Go Krampus, go.
At no point did Krampus ever do that. He just eats them, or drowns them, or sends them to hell.
I know, like, Christy was talking to one of her teachers at school, and they somehow got up on the Krampus discussion. And I think her teacher's from the Netherlands, that area. And she knew of the people like that too. It was Krampus, but it was called something else, which translates to Black Pete in English.
Oh, yeah.
Schwarzbiete.
Yeah, and they would take the naughty kids to Spain. So
Let's see. Be thrown in a river, taken to hell, or just taken to Spain. I'm gonna go. I'll just go to Spain.
Yeah, that sounds a lot nicer.
Get some tapas and some ham.
when I was telling her we're going to talk about Krampus, she got really excited and she says, "Make sure you tell them that the one in the Netherlands would take them to Spain."
Schwarzbiete causes some problems in today's culture.
I think Jeremy just.
I mean, I thought they were trying to make the transition to Sooty Pete.
Maybe they're trying to call him Sooty Pete instead of Black Pete. But I know that a lot of people get in trouble for dressing up like Black Pete because it's not culturally appropriate anymore. Not that it ever really was. Yeah, Schwarz Peter, Black Peter is related to Krampus, but not exactly. So there's a lot of
He's a
weird.
brother from another mother.
Maybe. Krampus is very much inspired by the devil. You start to see Krampus really pop up right around the time that Christianity moves up into Germania and Bavaria. He's kind of like the yin to Santa's yang, or whatever version of that is. I mean, because Santa is like good and wants to give all kids presents, and he loves everybody, and he's happy,
You got
and
Krampus on this side,
and then
you
you
got
got
Santa
Krampus
on
over
this
here
side.
who's all like,
And retail's right in the middle.
I'm gonna rip all these kids to shreds and beat them with a rod. I will say that apparently, I don't know where I'm sure we talked about it, but I don't remember where the tradition of leaving milk and cookies for Santa came from. But apparently, the tradition for Krampus is to leave him shots of schnapps.
Nice.
All right.
So I don't know if that's to like make him like not take the kid, or
It like pacifies him a little bit.
I'm gonna go ahead and say by
It's,
like
it's going to
by
get him drunk, so his aim's a little off when he hits him with the stick.
Just knocks family photos off the wall instead.
I mean by I don't know what number house you're going to be at, like depending on the size of the shot glasses. By like house number 20, he's so drunk maybe he just forgets to go to the rest of the houses. Like, because schnapps is pretty strong stuff, depending on what
Yeah.
Well,
It didn't specify what flavor, if he likes peppermint schnapps
Gotta be.
or the various other different varieties of schnapps. I think they pretty much come in like all flavors, right?
yeah.
Schnapps is one of those things I don't think I've drank since I was in college, and that was 23 years ago now. So that's
Shout out to Uncle Bill from American Movie. Just peppermint schnapps.
Now, we are, at least two of us are card carrying members of the anti parade party. I don't know if all three of us are.
The what part? What did you say?
The anti parade.
Jeremy enjoys his parades.
Jeremy likes the parades.
Anti-parade. Yeah.
The
I like
anti-parade
parades.
party. However, I was in doing the research, I found that there is a parade that I very much want to go see. It's called the Krampuslauf, which translates to the Krampus Run. Generally happens at night. The participants, hundreds of them, dress up in various different Krampus costumes, and they parade up and down the roads. The whipping kids, handing out schnapps to the adults. There's a female version called the Perchtin.
That's hot.
There's also angels and Saint Nicholas. Like it just apparently in certain parts of Austria, these parades, these celebrations rival Mardi Gras.
Wow.
Ooh.
They whip kids as they go.
I'm guessing it's not with real whips or
licorice whips.
Or like it's very they also
Mozzarella
specified
whips.
It's sensual.
They also specified on the legs. So my guess is the kids just make sure they're wearing some pretty thick blue jeans or chaps of some kind, and maybe they just
Yeah.
Some thick wool socks.
Guys, get ready. There's one kid that enjoys it way too much.
He shows up in Daisy Dukes, and you're like, it's -20. I don't care. I want it.
I'm an extra naughty this year, Krampus.
But I mean that sounded like a whole hell of a lot of fun. The Krampus parades, mainly because parades over here are pretty lame, but over there, I mean, well, I've never been to Mardi Gras, so maybe I'd be into parades if I went to Mardi Gras. But like, yeah, they were talking about how just like ridiculous like the Krampus parades were and how much fun they were.
I believe, didn't they also have a Black Pete parade?
Again, they're probably trying to phase that into the Sooty
Right.
Pete. Yeah.
Right, my bad.
But and I
Sooty
think
Pete parade.
my guess is that Schwartz Pete or Sooty Pete probably takes place. Joe jumps over and shows up at the Krampus lofts, and vice versa, because it's very much an Upper European. The not Slavic, that's more Russian. They're Germanic countries. The Norway, Germany. I don't know. Iceland has their whole 12 Yule lads thing and dwarves, and they're really into the whole fairy animals. What, speaking of which, Krampus, is he, and I've meant to Google this and I didn't because, well, I'm really bad at my job. Would you consider Krampus a cryptid or is Santa a cryptid?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, why
Yeah,
not?
you'd have to consider them both, especially if they have magical powers.
So I mean, so Santa, Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, Mothman, Krampus all hanging out together.
Yeah, sitting around the table playing some Texas Hold'em.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. I thought about that earlier and then I got busy on something else and I was like, are they technically cryptids?
Yeah,
Well, that depends on how much you believe in Santa.
I probably believe in Santa more than I believe in Bigfoot.
or the Bears winning a Super Bowl.
Uh, so apparently in this country though, Krampus has been largely ignored until sometime in the early 2000s. G4 did a skit back when G4 was a thing.
Love
Did a
G4.
Oh, I miss it. I know they did I know they tried to do a comeback. I don't know how well it worked,
Not so
but
well.
they did a skit in '03. That seemed to be one of the earliest American references. The Venture Brothers did an episode in '04. Scooby Doo did a whole thing in 2012. And the robot,
Really?
yeah, like which I was like, wait, Scooby Doo did Krampus?
That's awesome.
I'm sure a very sanitized version of Krampus, but Robot Chicken brought Krampus in a number of times on their Christmas specials. But where I learned about Krampus, really, I'm not going to say the first time I'd ever heard about Krampus, but like the first time I think I recognized, like, hey, this is a thing, was on an episode of The League. The episode called the a Krampus Carol, where Taco went to the mall and tried to talk him into firing Santa and hiring Krampus instead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Which, I mean, I need to rewatch The League because that show was amazingly hilarious. But that episode was 2012, and that seemed to be, for me, like where this Krampus renaissance kind of like really kicked off. Because obviously Scooby Doo did something in 2012, The League did something in 2012, and then it was very shortly after that one of the only big screen movies for Krampus, the one that the three of us went and saw in 2015 happened. I went to that horror movie database that you shared with us, Justin.
yeah.
There's maybe 20 or so Krampus movies, but the earliest one seems to be in 2013.
The Krampus, the Christmas Devil.
Yeah, so it really, like, then there's been a bunch, a couple of year every year since then.
Yeah,
But there's something about Krampus, the she devil. So like they've gender bended Krampus, and
Hmm.
I know they've done some, like they did that holiday horror anthology where Krampus was part of it.
yeah. Christmas Horror Story.
And for you, Jeremy, I'm sure you already knew this, but Overwatch, you could get a skin for somebody called Junkrat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you could get a
Yes.
Krampus skin and then there were a few other random like indie games that you could various different versions of Krampus showed up. Most of the Krampus movies, other than the one that we went and saw, don't look like they're worth talking about.
When I was looking through that list, I thought Sleigh Bells kind of seemed interesting. Didn't watch it, but
What is it?
that
I saw that name, but I didn't know. It didn't immediately scream Krampus to me, so I didn't look into
uh,
it. What's that one about?
let me pull up the thing I took for it. It's while urban exploring in an abandoned amusement park, three cosplaying girls accidentally unleash the vicious holiday beast known as Krampus. With the help of Santa Claus, can these girls stop Krampus from his killing spree? And Barry Bostwick plays Santa Claus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wrote down a bunch of them off of that.
Oh yeah, look at that. It's on Prime, Roku, Vudu. It's all over the place.
Yeah,
Tubi.
I wrote
Of
down I
course
wrote
it's on
down a bunch of
Tubi.
the movies that were involving Krampus, and Sleigh Bells was one I thought looked pretty interesting. Sister Krampus, this one with the nun. I was like, eh. But yeah, I went through there a couple days ago and I was writing some of them down and trying to see if any of them actually looked like they might be worth a watch. So maybe I'll watch Sleigh Bells and I can report back onto how that movie is next time.
All right. One last bit of interesting trivia that I found. There is a playlist on Spotify called Krampusnacht. So Krampus and then German for night. It's by an Eric Kasten. I don't know who that is. I just felt like I should give him credit. It's got 32 songs on it. I didn't write them all down. We're not going to talk about all of them because well, most of them just were repetitive. I didn't listen to all of them. I did listen to Krampus Bitch by the Sapphic Musk, the Krampus Carol by Craterface, which was some sort of European death metal. There was Krampus is Coming to Town, two different versions, one by somebody called Rusty Cage and somebody called the Plastic Bastards. Naughty Christmas by Lacuna Coil, which seemed to be the only real band on this list. And then I Saw Mother Kissing... I wrote that wrong. I Saw Mother Kissing Krampus by the Gallo Humors.
Huh.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, most of them were called like Krampus or Krampus Carol, or there's a few of them that were definitely not in English.
La Canción de Krampus.
Yo Soy Krampus was one of them. Then there was a number of interesting titles, but those were the ones that stuck out to me. So if you want to get into some Christmas spirit and listen to the Krampus songs instead of songs about Santa. And then the last thing, we missed it. Apparently last week we should have done the Krampus episode, or 2 weeks ago we should have done the Krampus episode, because apparently Milwaukee has a very large Krampusnacht. It's one of the largest in the Midwest. They've been doing it for 6 years now in the brewery district. It looked, from the pictures, like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I saw someone posted about that on the old social media. Looked interesting.
Yeah. So maybe next year we'll have to take a field trip down to the old
Town,
the old brewery district, and it looked like basically a comic book convention.
Nice.
Like just
all right,
for Krampus and you know, like there was they had like a mini version of the Krampus Laufen. And then just there were a bunch of bars and buildings that I think it was all like roped off, and you could just go into various different bars and buy stuff. And you know, I'm sure those of us that want to drink, one of us that would want to drink can get some alcohol. So
don't want to pay those outrageous prices.
Anyway, it did look like a lot of fun. I couldn't really there's not a lot of Krampus material out there. I mean, I think maybe if we were in Europe, it would be different, but we're not. So there's not like what is your favorite top 3 Krampuses of all time? Because like my list is like that one episode of The League, the movie we went and saw, and then
the Ornament on the Tree.
Yeah, the Ornament on the Tree. There you go. There we go. That's my top. No, I'm sorry, not the Ornament on the Tree. The game show from last year that Jeremy did.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Those are my favorite 3 Krampuses. So there's not a lot. So like, and honestly, I'm guessing that the list that you guys have, if you had a list, would be pretty similar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So does anybody have any knowledge of Krampus that I seem to have missed, or any thoughts they want to throw in there?
Well,
I mean, it's normally the last segment, but doing this research, by research, I mean, I was just looking at movies with Krampus. I came across one that's on Tubi, and it's called Krampus versus Bigfoot. So naturally, I was like, I'm in, let's do this. So I watched Krampus versus Bigfoot yesterday on Tubi. And it is awful. It seems like it's very poorly done CG. And like it takes place in the future where like the human race has pretty much all been eliminated. So they're living on ships. And like they have robots that help them. They communicate with aliens.
What?
Yeah.
What do
Uh,
aliens have to do with?
I don't, it gets stranger. So the main guy leaves and then like Krampus attacks. So he's trying to, so then Bigfoot goes to try to find him. So Bigfoot thinks he's dead. So he's got to go talk to like Osiris and Ra to find out if his friend's still alive. And then Krampus is having like conversations with Lucifer because he's flying a spaceship. I'm trying to think who else is in there. Like a Jack Skellington looking guy who's, I don't remember his name. I think they might have just called him Jack. He's flying a spaceship. So all these guys are, in their spaceships because we live in space now. And
Huh.
it's, yeah.
So it's a
I,
whole hour and 9 minutes. I think I can commit to watching that this week.
An hour
yeah.
and nine.
Yeah. I watched it. I was like, I have to watch
I
it. There's some pretty funny lines with Bigfoot, but this the whole movie.
I will say, thanks to my time on the game show, Tubi and I have spent a lot more time with each other recently. I did find the whole Bigfoot section quite amusing, like Bigfoot's Wild Weekend and Bigfoot versus the co-eds or something like. Yeah, there
Oh
was a
my
lot of.
God.
But no Krampus versus Bigfoot.
That one never popped up, but now I'm gonna have to hunt it down. Give that one a
Yeah.
watch because I do apparently like to torture myself by watching bad movies. So, how about you, Jeremy? You got anything on Krampus? I mean, I know you must have done
Um,
some Krampus research when you did your game show.
oh, well, I researched the character to really get into it. And I peeked through a lot of naughty children's windows, but that was about it.
Hmm.
I did bring, in honor of
Did,
Krampus, I've got two naughty douches that I'd like to talk about.
Oh, wow, we
can
haven't
we,
had one of those in a
yeah.
while. All
Are we
right.
allowed? What is the punishment here? Sack of oranges?
You can
A
decide
whip?
once I tell you what the crime was.
Okay.
Okay, so first
The,
one, their first douche is Activision because during the Game Awards, they got called out in a joke by the voice actor who played Kratos, Christopher Judge,
Hmm.
because he said his acceptance speech last year was longer than the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, which is true. Not exactly, but I mean it's a great joke because fuck Call of Duty. And the developers like got on Twitter. Well, not all of them, but some developers and one of the voice actors who played what's his name, Captain Sloan or something. They like got all butthurt on Twitter and like I understand being a developer and like you don't have control over what a company does, but like your game, make a fucking better game. Like you deserve every single joke. You deserve more than jokes, really. I mean, like the state of modern gaming is a complete train wreck and a joke because of companies like Activision doing this fucking nonsense where you have to pay for loot boxes and pumping out the same boring ass generic shitty game every year and calling it $70 for that. They want to charge you $70 for a new game, and it's a reskinned version of the same old bullshit you've seen for the past 15 years. And the developers, that voice actor has the audacity to go on Twitter and be like, Christopher Judge is a clown. No, you're a fucking clown, and the company you work for is a greedy fucking clown too. So that's the first douche.
all right. I'm going to sentence Activision to a beating with a birch rod.
Okay.
Perfect.
Justin, do you agree?
That sounds good to me.
All right, Activision Krampus will be coming to your house and bringing his
With a
birch
birch
rod.
rod.
I will say, like, I do agree that video games these days are bad. I just started playing Gotham Knights because it just went up on Game Pass, and it just hasn't grabbed me the way like Arkham Asylum and Arkham Knight did. Like, I don't know, like maybe I just haven't really been in the mood, but no.
I just started replaying Asylum because I got Asylum City and what is the other one? Both where you're mostly the car.
Oh, Knight.
Yeah, I got all three of those on one of their holiday sales for like $7.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, that was, I mean, I know they had a bunch of like not like DLC and like extra skins you could buy, but it wasn't like loot boxes. Like, it wasn't like like you didn't have to buy a certain skin to activate certain parts of the game, or like, like you would suck if you didn't pay the extra money to get the loot boxes. I hate loot boxes. I'm
Yeah.
I'm with you. Like I'm not a Call of Duty fan. I'm not a Modern Warfare fan. I'm really not like like a first person shooter fan too much anyway. I don't like playing with people online. I like just playing by myself.
But on
All right, yeah, maybe I should have phrased that. Maybe I should have phrased that better. It's a good point.
Yeah, I agree though. I'm more into solo stuff
All
too.
right, who is number two? Who's bringing Krampus to their house for who's the other person?
Well, this is kind of just generic. It's like I was getting pissed off at influencers today. Mostly, okay, if you feel like you're so self-important that like when you're talking to a camera, you have to be like eating or putting makeup on, like fuck you. Like you're not that special or important. Like your time's so precious. You have to like actually be eating a meal while you're giving out advice. Like it makes it sound so much more like important. Like, let me tell you something, guys. And then you like actually take a pause. I've seen it. I've seen people like actually take a pause. Like, finish your fucking food and then go to the camera. What the fuck? So
And
that's like influencers in general. Like the whole state of like I'm so mad at like everything right now.
they're not food influencers, right? They're just
No,
like,
no. Just normal people talking about random ass shit, but like they think they're so self-important that like their day is so packed. They have to be doing something while they're on camera, of course, because you can't just be sitting there talking to your audience directly and making a point. God forbid. Like, and I don't know why that enrages me so much, but it does.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
I think that's why I have been had such a block against trying to figure out how to use TikTok and start promoting us over there. I know I have a lot of people like pushing me to do it, and I finally did download TikTok, and I think I opened it once in like the month that I've had it. Like, um, but I get it. Like I know that like that's the way that that's the wave of the future and how everybody is moving, but it's so annoying for the exact same reasons that you said. So I sentence every influencer to also a beating with a birch rod.
Okay.
and a leg whipping.
Ooh, and a leg whipping. All right.
Nice. I'm gonna add to that and say 6 months of a real job.
I will
Fast food or retail.
I will hold there should be a gap year between high school and college. And that gap year should be mandatory 1 year like retail. Like either Walmart, Target, Home Depot,
I think fast food
or fast food.
yeah, one or the other.
One or the other. Like you have and not just like I showed up for one week. Like no, like you have to put in 40 hours a week for however many
It's like
weeks.
community service.
Right.
They gotta hit so many hours before they can be done.
Right. Before you can go
Yeah.
to college, before you can move on to the pro sports, but you have to put in a year and read that. I think honestly, that would stop a lot of people from being the way they are.
Yeah.
Because then they would realize how shitty it is.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I'm not against people addressing a camera. I want to be clear. I just think I hate inauthentic, phony ass people, and I can see it dripping on people when they're doing shit like that.
Especially if they're eating and it's not a food review show,
Right. It's just
or they're
like,
doing makeup and it's not like a makeup tutorial.
right. It's like, what are you doing?
Because I know there's a lot of influencers who make a lot of get a lot of views because they're doing like makeup tips and product reviews. So like if that's that's the whole point of the video,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
I get
But like
that.
if your
Yeah.
whole thing is like, oh, I was out walking the dog, and you're like, here's this taco.
Right. Like it's ridiculous. I don't know.
I know I don't know their name because I don't really pay attention, but there's one that will do like a true crime show. Well, she is getting her makeup on in the morning.
Hmm.
So as she's doing makeup, she's talking about like true crimes and stuff. And I was just like same. Like you really need to be doing your makeup well, like pencil to your eye while talking about Dahmer.
Yeah, that
Strange.
Seems strange. Seems strange. All right. Anybody watch anything over the last couple weeks that wasn't the Packers winning?
GTA 6 trailer.
Oh, yeah. I know a lot of people are really excited about that game.
I'm very
Hmm.
pumped. Yeah.
The brother-in-law was talking about how excited he was for that yesterday. But when that one's actually not coming out for a while though, is it?
Yeah, they said 2025 at the end of the trailer, so
Oh,
hopefully quarter one. But I'm very excited. I think it just looks insane. I mean, that's all in-game stuff that was captured for that trailer, so that's what it's gonna look like. Probably better than that, actually, by the time it comes out.
Hmm.
And just to see, like, what stood out to me right away is like all the different body types, because in the other games, they're pretty basic body models for people walking the streets. And it's full, but you still don't get a feel that you're in a full metropolis. But like that's a living, breathing city right there in that trailer. Like I can't wait to dive in.
how long has it been since GTA 5 came out?
That came out in 2013,
Wow. So I mean they've been working on this game for by the time it comes out 12 years. So
allegedly.
I mean I would hope that if 12 years development like you would be pretty good.
Yeah, but we also got Red Dead 2 in 2018, so they
Oh, okay.
they did work on that as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure they probably were doing planning and crap at the same time.
And I honestly have no idea what it takes to do a video game.
Me
So
neither.
like I don't know if you can be working on multiple video games at the same time or if
I
like
have
you have
no clue.
one team over there like working on one thing and another team over there working on I don't.
I'm assuming they would have to have multiple teams broken up like that.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So I'm sure by the time that game comes out, it's going to be one of the most hyped games in at least recent history, if not of all time. Especially since it's over a year before it's actually getting released.
Yeah,
How many times do you think it'll be postponed, Jeremy? Or will it be right on time?
I bet we'll get one delay. It'll probably be originally announced for like quarter one or two, and then they'll delay it to like the very end of 2025.
I mean,
Is my bold prediction.
I would hope if they're setting their sights for a year, over a year from now, and they've got that much of a fully realized trailer that like the
Yeah, but this has
game.
happened like so many times with Rockstar.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
But I mean, I hope I would love it if it wasn't delayed. Yeah.
All right. Well, other than Krampus versus Bigfoot, did you watch anything worth talking about?
I don't even know if that was worth talking about, but no, not really. I can't even think what I've been watching. So yeah, I've still been working my way through Monk. I kind of want to rewatch the entire season before that movie came out, and the movie already came out, and I'm still working my way through about a little over halfway done with the series.
You know, I never watched Monk. I was always told it was good, and I meant to, but
I thoroughly enjoy it. It's on Peacock.
you know, Monk and Psych are two shows that you talk about a lot that I
Tony
just never
Tony
watched.
Tony Shalhoub, the guy who plays Monk, was at the Packer game because he's a Green Bay native.
Nice.
Green Bay? I thought he was down in this area.
No, he's up in Green Bay,
Oh,
Appleton
okay.
area. But yeah, those are two shows I do talk about a lot that you should check out. Both, I believe, on Peacock.
All right. Instead, I just watch. I've watched 11 seasons of Top Chef on Peacock, so I've got nine more to go on that one.
9 more seasons.
Yeah,
Good God.
Jeez.
Well, you have to take a break to at least watch Krampus versus Bigfoot.
I did actually take a break to watch some other stuff because I was like, I need to watch something else. So I watched Candy Cane Lane,
Hmm.
Okay.
the new Eddie Murphy Christmas movie.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like
That pause makes me think bad,
it's not bad.
but not great.
I mean, it's not gonna go on the list like Christmas Vacation or Christmas
Elf.
Story or Elf. Like it's not going to go screwed. Like my top 4 or 5 movies that I have to watch at least once. Every Christmas time. If it's on, I'll watch it. It's fun. I mean, Eddie Murphy does what Eddie Murphy does. I mean, it's a cute little family movie. It's not offensive in any way. Like it's a fun little Christmas movie that is what it is. Like, it's not groundbreaking, but it's worth watching. I mean, if you got nothing else going on. I didn't write it down, but I just remembered. Disney Plus put up Dashing Through the Snow with Ludacris and Little Ray How.
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
little
Christ.
little Ray Howery plays Santa.
I don't even know who that is.
If you saw him, you'd know who he is.
Okay.
And then Ludacris has gotten to a part of his career where he's now playing the father in a movie, and it's so bizarre to hear the "move, bitch, get out the way" guy like being like the family man in a holiday Christmas movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was weird. It was cheesy, but I think I actually liked that one a little more than I liked Candy Cane Lane. But both of them were decent. I'd watch them again. Like if they come back around for Christmas next year, I mean, they'll be streaming forever. So as long as they stay on Amazon or Disney Plus, like
I watched the first episode of the Santa Claus series,
of season 1 or season 2.
season one.
Oh, okay. So
I
you
mean, it's not terrible. I don't know how much more I keep going on things because I have a tendency to stop watching them.
right after you watch one episode, I will say it's better than Santa Claus 3.
Okay.
Say much.
But Santa Claus 3 was really bad. Santa Claus 1, obviously upper echelon. Santa Claus
Yep.
2 is
I
okay.
watched Santa Claus 1 already
Yeah.
this season.
Santa Claus 2 is okay. Santa Claus 3 really shits the bed.
All
But
right.
I think they kind of tried to make up for some of that. Like, it's a fun show, but it's not, again, like, it's nothing like I'm not going to make it a point to watch it every year. I did restart watching the animated Tick series from the early 90s
Good choice.
because I love that show. And then, of course, all the Christmas themed baking competitions and cooking competitions that are on the Food Network.
Yeah, those are some of my favorite. The way they decorate some of that stuff for the holidays.
Oh, I started watching Nailed It.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, it's partly on your recommendation, and somebody must have recommended it to Jess. So like we watched the holiday Nailed It, which was hilarious. It's so funny. And so we've started watching just regular Nailed It now that we're done with holiday Nailed It.
hmm
It is like it's funny. It's worth watching.
Yes. You put the three of us on there.
Yes, I could get the baking part right, but the decorating part I'd be right there with. I feel like now Justin, I mean, not Justin, Jeremy, you'd have to fill us in here, but I feel like if we did like our own like Smashland version of Nailed It, like your sister wouldn't be allowed to be a competitor. She'd have to be a judge because she would destroy us all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know how she does on the crafting stuff. So I assume like her artistic nature, even when it comes to like cooking and baking, would probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
you have to be a judge.
And your dad. I'd like to see Judge Ron.
Judge.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We get him like robes, official judge robes.
All right. Well, maybe next year we'll do a Smashland version of Nailed It, where the three of us compete and have those two as judges.
Nice.
Maybe if we remember that we actually said it, because we do have a
Yeah.
long history of saying things and not following through.
That's true.
All right. Anybody got anything else?
I do know who Lil Ray Howery is because he
Okay.
was in Good Burger 2, which I watched.
Oh,
That was awesome.
okay.
I don't give a fuck what anyone says.
I've not honestly heard a review about it one way or
Nope.
the other. So
That's the first review I've heard.
I guess get it defensive immediately. It's just I like Kenan Kel a lot. I get nostalgic about those things. And I thought the writing, like I thought, I mean, it's sort of a rehash of the first, but not exactly. And I like the fact that like they are basically on good terms throughout the whole thing. Like they are friends, and like Keenan is just right. He's like known him enough to accept all the flaws, and there's no stupid, unnecessary conflicts like that. The comedy was like clever. Like they didn't have to make it as clever as it was, but they did, and there was great cameos and Keanu and Kel, underrated comedy duo.
What other cameos are in there? Who shows back up?
Well, there's some new ones. Gronk is in it. That one Fleur Borg dude is in it.
Oh, Flula Borg, he's hilarious.
um, the some of the people from the past come back. There are some cameos from previous films. They do a really funny bit where they have like a bunch of like he does like a dream sequence for celebrities do like an anthem to try to save Good Burger, and it's all these pretty well-known celebrities, so that's a good bit. But yeah, the standout ones were probably like Gronk for me and that other dude.
Sinbad comeback?
Huh?
The Sinbad
Sinbad?
comeback?
I know he's not passed away, but I know he's not doing well.
I don't remember. I don't think he was. I don't think he was in it.
I was trying to think of some of the other All That cast that might be in it.
Oh, Laurie's in it.
Oh, okay.
And Josh Server, I think, is in it. If you remember that dude, he was a cast member of All That. I think Danny Tamborelli has a small part. Oh yeah, he does. He's in the montage where they're singing. Yeah. So yeah, there's some definitely some moments where you're like, awesome, and then there's some moments where you're like, that's surprisingly clever writing. So I enjoyed it.
Now, I know that Keenan and Kel got their start and all that. Did Good Burger start as a sketch on that, or was it just Keenan and Kel wanting to do their own thing?
Yeah, that was a sketch on there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because all that Keenan and Kel, Good Burger happened in my in between phase of high school, college, and when I met you guys. So like,
your mandatory retail phase.
Yeah.
Huh.
I've watched Good Burger with Jess because it's one of her favorite movies, but I don't know much about it. Like, it was enjoyable, but I don't hold it in the same reverence that you guys do, because I didn't grow up with it the way you guys did.
Yeah.
No, like I don't dislike it. Like it's fun, but
Yeah.
Speaking of fun, now you said, I don't know why what you said reminded me. A movie you told me to watch, or you told us all to watch, I finally did watch. Please Don't Destroy the Legend of Foggy Bottom, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie is better than it has any right to be. It's so stupid, it's funny.
They work really well together. They got some good chemistry.
Have you watched that one yet? Because it's on Peacock.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's I mean, I saw like they were promoted it because they were like, oh, Conan. I'm like, oh, I love Conan. So I watched the trailer. I'm like, okay, and I expected like basically the trailer to have all of the Conan cameo, but no, he's actually in it a fair amount.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Um,
nice.
the movie was ridiculous, and I did enjoy it. I thought it was pretty funny. So I'd recommend that one.
All right, I'll try to get that one and squeezed in at some point.
It's a short one. Like it's not too much longer than the hour and 9 minute Krampus movie.
Perfect.
All right, well then I guess if you've been a naughty child that has Krampus on the way to beat you with a birch rod or a whip,
Or to take you to Spain.
or to take you to Spain, or drown you, or possibly eat you, just remember that stupid never walks alone.
Comic books have been around for almost a century, And in the last 2 decades, we've finally gotten to see many of these characters brought to life in movies and on TV. On the Moving Panels podcast, we discuss movies and TV shows based on, inspired by, and adapted from the world of comic books. Join me and my guests as we discuss both the good and the bad from Marvel, DC, and even some of the lesser-known comic book companies. Learn what is and isn't from the comics, as well as our nerdy review of the movie or show. New episodes drop every Monday, and you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. So join us for Moving Panels, and I'll see you on the other side of the page.
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and listen to an 80s Flick Flashback podcast once in a while, you could miss it. Do you love movies of a certain age? Do you miss the days of VHS tapes, VCRs, and the video rental stores? Does the thought of another 80s movie being remade seem inconceivable? My name is Tim Williams. I'm the creator and host of the 80s Flick Flashback podcast. On each episode, I'm joined by guest co-hosts to discuss one of the many movies released in the 1980s. We share our first-time watch memories, our favorite scenes, and even learn some behind-the-scenes stories about the cast and crew along the way. New episodes are released every other Friday on your favorite podcasting platform. So make like a tree, get out of here, and go listen to an excellent episode of the 80s Flick Flashback podcast. The ad is over. Go home. Go.